This is our spoiler review of Fantastic Four First Steps. Can we say it? Spoiler? Dr. Doom! Dr. Doom! Dr. Doom! Yes! Why you let the guy's mask from Party City? To Doom. Post-credit scene. Yes. A man in a green cloak with a mask. Franklin Richards is, talking to this mysterious figure after Sue Storm just reading a story, and all of a sudden she walks back, and all of a sudden Dr. Doom shows up like Syndrome from The Incredibles. You don't want to wake up the baby. Anyway, you want to talk about Incredibles vibes? That's what's given. But anyway, now Fantastic Four. Finally, Marvel Studios owns this IP back cinematically, right? We got a Fantastic Four. We have Silver Surfer. We have Galactus, or version of Silver Surfer. Now, has this movie delivered what it promised? Yes. However, it does have some problems. But I just want to talk. What was your initial thoughts after coming out of this movie? Because you just saw it and your reactions are more raw.
All right, well, my initial thoughts, this is the thing with this movie. This has been, along with Superman, one of my most anticipated films of the year. And especially this one, because it's the Fantastic Four mean a lot. And I just want them to be done justice in the way that they should for being Marvel's first family and the ones that really kicked off what we know Marvel to be. And I will say, this film, in terms of the tone, characteristics, and everything, is definitely doing it justice. As we said, this film has a lot of flaws, but it is definitely doing a lot more things right than it is doing wrong. For instance, just saying, the family dynamic between everybody feels well realized here. Where in the other films, you might get that, the unreleased film or the Michael Chiklis and Chris Evans film. You feel that in some cases. You really didn't feel that with the 2015 one. Yeah. And you definitely didn't feel it with the 2015 one. But this one, quintessentially, all the characters feel like a group. They feel like family. They don't feel like coworkers that are meeting each other for the first time. They don't feel like they're winging it. No. Ben's relationship with Sue as a best friend sort of relationship feels real. Reed and his best friend relationship with Ben feels real. The brother-sister connection between Johnny and Sue feels real. Sue's connection and relationship with Reed feel they just all feel well realized, and it feels like these are a family. They really feel like a family, probably, in my opinion, the most out of all the incarnations that we've seen. And having this take place on an alternate Earth 828, as a reference to the birth date of Jack Kirby, as this film, reveals, it allows it to have its own breathing room away from the rest of what's going on in Earth 616 in the main MCU timeline. It's allowed to do its own thing, establish its own identity, while not being an origin story and instead skipping 4 years into the Four's career. It just allows us to do a lot without being oh, have you seen this film? It's no, you could go into this without seeing any other MCU film for the last couple of years, and you won't need to worry about anything, because there is literally no connections. The only thing connecting is the setup that it has for Avengers Doomsday next year, but other than that, you don't really get that much. Again, as I said, it allows you to live in this alternate 1960s world with these characters, with this setting, which is a good thing. However, it also does go into one of my small gripes with this film, but we'll get into that. But overall, I had a really fun time with this film. I love the actors, I love the setting, I love the vibe, I love the music. The animation and CGI are polished as freak. There's just a lot to love about this film, even with some of the subtle flaws.
Yeah, I will say here, this is the best looking MCU film we've had in years. And I'm not talking about in terms of with CGI with the thing, but just the world. We've gotten used to this being the 37th Marvel film now produced by Marvel Studios that we've now seen visual effects, for better or worse, right? And this is definitely on the better side. And I was definitely love, what the design aesthetic of this universe is. Again, going to one of my gripes is I wish we would have sat in this world a lot longer. And just terms of and kind of let this world, this universe breathe before we'll see it get destroyed in a year. But the thing about it, because what's also beautiful about multiverse is the fact, okay, what is the alternate version of this world compared to the one we know from the MCU? So does this world has a Wakanda? Does this world has a Peter Parker, Spider-Man, or something a Stark Industries, a Pym Tech, whatever. And even though you might still be the main heroes, it still can show differences. Kind of like the twist of this being a different universe. But it felt to me, it's like, they this is a new world just for these people, and that was it. And again, I said this, that this movie felt more like a sprint than a marathon. It's like the pacing of this was very, very quick. And it's not that I didn't mind, not glossing over the origin and everything, but one thing about this is we get the moments even from previous iterations. I'm struggling with their powers and all that stuff like that. But now it's no, we've been doing this for years now, right? And we're in the height of this. Nobody's persecuting us because we look different. Nobody looking at the Thing like he's scary and he's a celebrity, right? But again, let's go to another negative about it too, because it's not. I really enjoyed this movie. I really did. Me and my wife this if you are a parent or a parent to be, whatever, you're going to eat this up. Especially when you see the aspect of Franklin Richards, them having a child, and the whole family dynamic of them, responding to it. And by having Franklin Richards, it adds a sense of stakes and vulnerability, even though we all know these characters are going to survive in the movie. But it's just it still gives you a level of weight, because it's just of just the vulnerable nature of this is a child. He just been born, and now the threat of the film wants to target this child and everything by any means necessary and stuff. So I felt they really added there. But going to the big one, I had big apprehensions with Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal was one of my big concerns going into this movie, because it's not that I'm not a fan of Pedro Pascal as an actor. I just know that I know a safe choice when I see one, right? And I felt that he was fitting in the safe choice, but not in a choice where I'm like, oh, I would not see him as Reed Richards. Just he was not even my top 5 pick for Reed Richards. So when it came up to him, I was like, okay, let me see how this is gonna go. Honestly, no, he knocked it out of the park for me. He sold me as Reed Richards being the smartest man in the Marvel universe. I see this a path going down the way of how he's going to interact with other characters, because he doesn't come across as a narcissistic way of a know-it-all, but he come as of a know-it-all in the sense of burden. I know, I have to solve this problem, this prevent XYZ, and then other things. And then I'm speaking a language that a lot of people don't understand. And even then, his intellect, which is a big thing, that it was going to affect his marriage and his relationship with with his family. And there was one scene I really loved, and we're saying no, your mind hurts me. You're your brain hurts me. It also hurts you too, right? Because again, by being the smartest man in the universe is it's a burden. And even then, you're not. You might be smart in a lot of ways, but in other things that you might be an idiot. Like when Ben was like, "Hey, you know how to cook and do this. You know how to do this."
Right.
It's right. That was funny.
Right. I mean, how even subtle moments where it's when everyone found out that they were having a kid, and he was more busy on building this machine than building a baby crib.
Yes. Yeah. So I thought all that aspect in there were good. I go back to Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm, I've seen some people criticism saying that he didn't have a lot of charisma, but for me, I felt this was the most mature Johnny Storm we've gotten to date. And not only that, is a sacrificial Johnny Storm in a way, he's quick to, when it comes to Franklin, please take me out. And in the world where the Future Foundation exists, it's oh, that's comic accurate. I
understand some people, and I think it's more so just coming from the fact that people are used to when they see Johnny in other adaptations, usually he's sort of, this charismatic, into women, the kid of the group, and they're not used to this. But that's mainly because like most adaptations are only at the beginning of the Four's career. They've been the Fantastic Four in this universe for 4 years already, and so it's like we've passed by the joking nature of it all and focused on the other aspects of Johnny. Yes, he still has his comedic timing. Yes, he still has his wits. Yes, he still has his whole little thing with Ben. But this is a Johnny Storm that has matured. He's definitely seen some stuff over the 4 years that they've been superheroes, and because of that, you get to see the side of him. Like, they don't forget that he loves space and that he loves space travel, which is the reason why he was on that journey in the first place. They don't forget that he's not an idiot and that he figured out a lot of the stuff, especially when it comes to Silver Surfer in this movie. He figured out a lot. He literally is the one that decoded her language. Like, Reed was busy with this and just knocked it off as nonsense. Johnny's the one that found the pattern and figured out that at least could infer the history of Shalla-Bal Silver Surfer. Like, he is honestly, in my opinion, outside of Sue, the MVP of this movie, because while he is still very much Johnny Storm, he's acting like how I know Johnny Storm to by comics, to be jokey, but to also be mature. Like, this is a Johnny Storm that I could see. Right. This is a Johnny Storm I could see in the future. Like, again, we'll talk about the Future Foundation. For those who know, it only happened after he died in the comics. I could see this Johnny being that Johnny.
Right. But also, again, I think his also comedic timing comes when his interaction with other characters. So I expected we'll see more of that side in Doomsday and Secret Wars, with Johnny. But again, there's also moments where like people were not paying attention to him. Like, that is the little brother of the group, because like we're focusing on other stuff here, and it's like, hey guys, I got something, and they're like, what, Johnny, what going on? But I think that we need to see more of that, of him, into women, into the fact that he is a hothead, and no pun intended, but like to take some things seriously. But I think again, it's more of the sense of what the story gave us in terms of not what the portrayal the actor gave. I know some people are going to disagree with that, but I mean, I'm just saying, I was so on Johnny, and when I'm seeing all the people that were complaining, like, oh yeah, he's not gonna be into women, and also he's like, I'm into women, I love space. Now there's a space woman, and she's here, like, it's like
bro, like again, they're the only superheroes in their universe, so they're the only ones dealing with this stuff. Just wait till he gets to the main timeline. He's going to try to flirt with many of the superheroes we've already pre-established at this point,
right? But also going to Vanessa Kirby, like, again, she exudes a level of strength and femininity to this role that I feel that is so far forgotten with a lot of female Marvel characters. But like, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, again, like, this is a female superhero, and who's also very powerful, but not in a way of like, oh yeah, I'm the strongest one in this entire universe. Now, yeah, she can push Galactus in a freaking, vortex, whatever, portal, because by the power of womanhood, or the power of motherhood, that's how you should say it. You will do anything for your child. So in that scene, I was like, wait a minute. So she can just push the freaking Celestial into the, okay, but he has her child. I'm like, okay, the mama bear come out. You can't just,
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, we can't disagree in the fact that when the child is in danger, the mother will. It does not matter. The mother will do something to get the child back. And again, like, this is one of the most famous, like, hell, the first female superhero of Marvel. I mean, and for people who play Rivals, y'all really think she couldn't do something like this anyway?
I mean, she could have done disappear or whatever. Like, I mean, now that goes into another conversation too about the action. But like this, aside from that, again, Ben Grimm, I thought okay, visual effects wise it was crisp, but they didn't add, like, there's emotional elements to him that were not, there was no line of dialogue, but it was shown just by his acting, his face, motion capture, and interaction with another character. But it was not much, like, it didn't really manifest into nothing, so it felt like, almost empty to a point, where, when stakes are actually coming in, and he, what's actually going on with this guy, the fact of, yeah, this person, the Thing is one of the saddest characters in the Marvel universe. It's not trying to, think. Yes, there's a lot of characters that can, well, yeah, well, my pity party is a lot worse than you. Maybe, yeah, there's a lot of them. But for the Thing, I felt right. I mean, right. But the Thing is like, I felt like, okay, there was opportunity there because the Michael Chiklis thing, regardless, that was a practical. You added that emotional element when that came with his wife, seeing for the first time, and then she, took the ring off, put it on the, on the ground, and he tried to pick the ring up, but he couldn't because of his fingers and stuff. Like that whole thing, like that element of it was, and now in an age with, visual effects improved, they could have done that, and yet they almost could have done that with Fan Four Stick, but this whatever. But like with this, you have an opportunity here, like to like explore that on a visual level with the Thing, and I was like, it was there, but it wasn't expanded on. That was frustrating to me.
Honestly, I will say, like, when we get it, because I definitely know this movie will get a sequel at some point. When we do, I do want there to be a bit more focus on Ben. Like, there is a lot that you could do with the character. Like, there's, I mean, as you said, there was something, but it wasn't elaborated on. Like with his love interest in the film that is not Alicia Masters, played by Natasha Lyonne, who played Birdie in What If. She's not Alicia's Masters. She's a different character. I know you thought it was Alicia, but no.
Yeah, I was like, wait, why is she supposed to be blind? Is she supposed to be blind?
No, yeah, no. Like like Alicia's father, Puppet Master. They said they've already taken on in this universe. But I guess they just have, he just hasn't met Alicia yet. Or maybe when the MCU resets after Secret Wars, maybe she'll be, who knows? Right.
And new timeline and all that. So, okay, going on to that point, you talk about Puppet Master, we talk about Red Ghost. There was a lot of villains that were mentioned, but none expanded on. Now, I'm not even gonna get to Galactus point, but I'll get to him in a second. But like, the fact that there was a lot of name drop of villains, Mole Man, but Mole Man is now anti-hero or whatever. But okay, but you have an actor who playing Red Ghost. I forgot the actor's name. That he got cut from the film.
It was John Malkovich.
John Malkovich, right? Award-winning actor, right? For the longest time, I don't want to be in no comic book movies. Now he's finally in one, and then you cut his scene now. And not only that, in the end credit scene, you made a joke with his character, and then we still don't see him. And then yet, not only that, you have the monkeys, the chimpanzees or orangutan, and stuff, fighting Reed Richards. It's fantastic, and yet we still don't see him. I've understand the criminal system in the city, whatever. There's Puppet Master, there's Red Ghost, there's the other guy, Mole Man stuff over there, and I'm just like, oh, are we gonna see it? No. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay. Now, talk about going villains again before building up to the movie. Like, now we see how this world, with how they're building off of that, they've expanded all popularities of Reed, expanding technological advancement in this world. Sue is who created the Future Foundation, is also like being a political figure, but in a real diplomatic, realistic way in this world, and just like humanitarian, and speaking United Nations and stuff like that. But then you have one open chair with the Latveria flag, and it's like everybody in the audience, like critics, the theater wasn't packed. We had the critics there. We're like, yo, it was like, yeah, my wife was like, yo, what's that?
No, like. Like for my theater, because I had another, just like for Superman, I had another packed IMAX screening for this, and as soon as the Latvian chair was shown, but no one sat in it, the whole audience was gasping, like, what?
Yeah, that was smart. That was smart. It's like, if I'm Dr. Doom and I'm not coming to you, United Nations Superstar, fuck you. I'm not showing up. I'm the king of my nation. You don't need me. I don't need you. You need me. I don't need you. All right, and then they show that flag again twice. It was like that was smart. That was smart.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I was like, even like 20 minutes later, I'm like, that was cool. That was so simple, but that was cool.
Oh my God.
But yeah, like the one thing I was like, yeah, come on now, like, and actually, let's act like this fucker is from another country and runs another country. Like, he's a diplomatic figure. It's not like he's just from a foreign nation that we're not going to talk about. He has political power. Like, Dr. Doom has political power, you know, aside from science and sorcery, like all of that. So, like, expand on that. But yes, it was that was cool. That was cool. But yeah, now going back to the villain problem. Action. There was not a lot of hero moments that was not already shown in the trailers. Like, I can count the Johnny Storm and Thing, you know, catapulting down and stuff like that after he gets bitch slapped to the fucking orbit by Galactus. And then, like, I was like, damn, like, you know, he just kept going. He kept going, like, you know, until Johnny had to bring him back. But then he brought him back, pull him in. And like, that was a hero move, you know, and that was cool. But Reed Richards, okay, you seen Incredibles? You seen the original Fantastic Four film where the original Mr. Fantastic showed up to the premiere? Like, he stretched more than you did, you know. Like, and I was just kind of like, well, you holding back? Your visual effects is far improved since 2005. You know, you dig? Like, come on. Like, you can't just like do more with all we had is just to have Galactus just, you know, and try to stretch. And, like, you know, it's like, oh, like, you couldn't wrap around, you couldn't do nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
that
was there too.
Yeah, I understand why they didn't do too much stretching, because it's like literally in this day, like for a lot of people, it just will ever feel unnatural. Like, I mean, I remember One Piece, some people feeling unnatural about it, and it's the reason why it's not just a full-on stretch in Miss Marvel as well. It's also the, you know, what's going on there. So I understand why they didn't show too much of it within this film, but like, yeah, maybe a bit more. And also, I will say, yes, practically most of the action scenes we have seen. And hell, the one that wasn't shown in a trailer, people already saw at like somewhere. It wasn't D23, but it was like somewhere
like the 30-minute, right? Exactly.
No, yeah, the one where they were like running away from Shalla-Bal, like that was seen by somebody else. D23 Brazil, I think, but like, you know, that was seen to audience. So even if it wasn't trailers, people have seen it if you were there or if you got the description of it. But it's like, yeah, most of the fight scenes were shown in like. Really the only thing that wasn't shown in the trailers was just like some of the exposition stuff, Mole Man, and then the full version of Galactus. Like, those are really the only things that were not shown before you go to see this movie. But practically most of the other stuff, if you were to like piece together from the trailers that they dropped, yeah, you'd practically be able to piece together most of the movie.
Like, there was one shot of Johnny absorbing fire, like, you know, in the beginning of the movie. Like, and I was like, well, shit, like, that's what Chris Evans couldn't do that because Pyro got his ass in Deadpool Wolverine. And I was like, so it's like he's able to absorb all the, you know, the fire and everything, all that. And but that was cool. But like even Invisible Woman, like a little bit more, like just like with Johnny, we didn't get Supernova, you know, because as much as the first Fantastic Four film get a lot of flack, wherever, right? That film came out when we were kids, but even then, to this day, I have named at least 5, you know, action set pieces that were off the chain. I can tell you about Johnny escaping the torpedoes shot by Dr. Doom. I can talk about the motorcycle scene of you know, him jumping off and then finally trying to fly for the first time, right? Supernova. You know, actual supernova around Dr. Doom, while Invisible Woman is holding a vortex to hold that. What was it? I think it was also the snowboard scene. You know, of him flying, he kept catching on fire. Like, that was cool. But like, yeah, I was like, you finally got the Fantastic Four. Where's the action? And I felt with this is like, even with the thing, like, you have muscle. Like, what were you actually like? It's like, you did better than Fan Four Stick with action, but you didn't do as much action as the original Fantastic Four films, like 2 films, that and Rise of Silver Surfer. And it was I'm really surprised by that. But going into the Silver Surfer, I was disappointed with Shalla-Bal, the character Shalla-Bal, only because I don't think it was her performance. I don't even think the visual effects, some of the scenes didn't bother me. I thought it would look, pretty crisp, especially that interstellar scene when they're chasing them and stuff. That was cool. It was just really writing that character, like Shalla-Bal, like her husband is Norrin Radd, and it's like, so that's part of the character. And I felt the reason why you got the female Silver Surfer is because that was a gateway to the male Silver Surfer, because you're being a sacrificial herald for him, whatever, and it's just like, it was just nothing. And then I felt also some of her motivations at the end, like when she got to get the turn, all it took was you to get a freaking message of all the planets that got killed. But yeah, you had no issue because you knew you just got finished killing another one like 2 seconds ago, and now you're like, oh, I feel bad now, and now I'm gonna go take Galactus out, and push him in there.
I say, like, for me, Silver Surfer, as you said, visual wise looks really, really good, and no problem at all with the performance at all from the actress. The problem is with her character is from origin wise, because it's not like how it was in the comics. Instead, she's basically a stand-in for her husband's origin from which I understand in some cases, because again, like, this is a separate universe, and when we get back to the MCU, we will have that with Norrin Radd when we do bring him in, whether that be a Fantastic Four sequel or a Guardians movie or whatever the case may be. But in this case, it doesn't help with some, because literally, remember, like, when she was announced to be Silver Surfer, a lot of people who, of course, didn't know a female Silver Surfer existed before were just like, oh, they're gender bending the character, and all of us have to be like, no, this character already existed and is the wife of the OG Silver Surfer. Cut it out. This sadly does not help that case. It is, still not a copycat, but still at the same time, it doesn't help.
It doesn't stand on it. You have a child, but you don't have where's the father of that child?
Right.
Well, we had like Stanfield. He was like, he was basically saying, "Oh, I thought I was casting Silver Surfer," and then he deleted that post. And it's like, whatever. Galactus. Okay, so we finally have an accurate Galactus, not a poo cloud. Now, as much as Galactus, I like, in terms of his presence, his voice, and everything, I did felt there's certain visual effects on his face that a little bit jarring. Some scenes, like, but aside from that, I think the presence of Galactus, from terms of his size, now he has shrunken down before to get plans, like he has done that. But I think what everybody was asking for was seeing him in space on his own, bigger size, and looking at the planet, and to the exact scale what you saw in Eternals. I don't know why we bring up Eternals, but like Eternals, that scene when the Judgment Celestial, forgot his name, don't care, came up and took Cersei, and and also a few other Eternals, and it's like, I will come back for Judgment. But like when he came through, like the atmosphere fucking changed. Like, and everything changed, and that was a great shot. But like that, you didn't get that in this movie. It's like, no, I'm hopping down to my little sphere, cylinder sphere.
I understand. Like, people, not just that. I think people could also look to, for anyone who played Ultimate Alliance, there was that ending credit scene that teased Galactus, and while it was him looking at a hologram, it basically depicted what you were saying, what we saw in Eternals, with a giant figure like that over the Earth. And yes, it is 100% comic accurate for him to be coming from his ship. That's how it works. I understand as well, though, the people that would have liked to him, like, even if it was still the ship, for him to at least come closer to the Earth in that size before shrinking down. I get, like, that. Look, I'll say this, though. I'll say this when it comes to Galactus. Yes, face-wise, there was a little bit, in certain shots. I think more so when it came to, like, when he was on Earth, that it felt off versus his ship where it was, like, dimly lit. However, but I will say it's like I am not mad with how it went, because this is a cosmic level character that, unless this movie was going to introduce the ultimate nullifier, you can't easily get rid of. So, I mean, easily defeat. So I don't mind them pushing him away, because that means he comes back. It's not the classic, oh, we killed the villain. Like, I saw a lot of people being like, well, I better hope they don't kill. No, they didn't kill him in this movie.
Well, yeah, and but when where it's going, it's just like I'm just saying. I hope that when universe resets, that it'll be like, okay, well, the Silver Surfer is now Norrad, and then Galactus is still alive, but now they're in the main one singular universe. Is like, by revamping it, then you have like, okay, well, this person is supposed to be alive now, they're, you know, or this person's supposed to be dead now, they're alive, or this, you know, this person's recasted. Like, you know, it the article whatever that came out from Kevin Feige this past weekend and stuff, that kind of explained everything was happening. That I don't think this is the last time we'll see Galactus or Silver Surfer, but it'll be a minute. But that being said, going to the end credit scene, finally, after a long waited time, over last year at Comic-Con, and this time when I was there, when they announced it, that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be playing Doctor Doom. Avengers Doomsday is now in production. It got delayed, but it's coming out still next calendar year. And we don't know when we're going to see him. Oh, Doctor Doom's not in this. Doctor Doom's not in this. Doctor Doom is not in this. And lo and behold, at the end, we see a green or dark green cloak figure talking to an older or 4-year-old Franklin Richards with his mask off to the side, clearly saying that it was Doctor Doom. Now, where and when did that fit in place in the next movie? Have no clue. I also think that Thunderbolts, again, you know, I talked about this. I think that Thunderbolts end credit scene kind of ruined the movie for a lot of people's expectations, thinking like, oh, this world's going to end. They're like, this movie, they're going to end up in our universe, right? And then you like at the end, you're like, you know,
like that was a huge, like, after the Thunderbolts post credit, like, people were thinking that before the Thunderbolts post credit scene, but then the Thunderbolts post credit scene really, for a lot of people in their brains, was like, oh, we're correct, their universe is going to get destroyed, and then they're going to have to run to the main 616 universe after that to try and like warn them. No, it's not any of that. Instead, most likely what it will be, because as said, Doctor Doom shows up like 4 years after the events of this movie. Franklin Richards is now 4 years old, and he has the power cosmic, as we saw within this film when he brought his mom back from the dead. Literally, Doctor Doom just shows up, most likely from his time portal, you know, his time platform, and got into the building. Most likely will kidnap him, leave to Earth 616 or to the X-Men universe, and the Fantastic Four are basically chasing after them.
Yeah, I have no clue. But one of my things is, I think that scene confirms. Now, I don't know how he got there undetected, but
time platform probably.
Yeah, but I think that Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom, Victor Von Doom, is from that Fantastic Four 828 universe, because there's no reason why you would set up. You had the Latveria moment there. He didn't show up twice, and that flag was shown twice in this movie, only for him to show up at the end. It's like, to me, that insinuates that he's from that universe. Now, also think about this, but even going back to in terms of mindset here, how stupid it is, like, you know what? Okay, if Galactus can't come here, then we must leave. So you're gonna teleport Earth to a different point of the universe? You don't know where atmosphere is, or a sun, or gravitation. You don't think how that's gonna you know, change and everything, like, you know, like that. I was like, wait, well, how would that even work?
I mean, for comic readers, it's not the first time. I mean, that's not unimpossible, but it's like, yeah, you don't know what effects that would have had on the planet. Like, if you actually ended up succeeding in that, like if Shalla-Bal didn't destroy those nodes, you don't know what would have actually happened to the Earth.
Right. I mean, no clue, but I thought that was really bad idea, and I mean, it showed for it, because the Silver Surfer was like, nope, not today, and then just speeding around the freaking globe and just destroying all of it. But aside from that, I think that was a good tease. I'm not a fan of that mask. I was like, really? That's the mask you're doing? That was like the one you had at Comic-Con. That's one was legit from Party City. So like, what the
Yeah.
heck?
Yes, yeah. See, and another thing about that scene is like just like the Thunderbolts post credit scene. This one was also directed by the Russos, so this is a scene that we're going to see in some shape or form in Avengers Doomsday next year. So it's like cloak wise, okay. At least
Cloak is fine. The cloak is fine.
The mask is like, and again, you can only see like a bit of the mask, but still, it's like from what you could see, you're like
cheap, absolutely cheap. I was like, oh, this must be a joke. Like that's like as many times as people use AI to create. Oh, here is the end credit scene of Thunderbolts. Here's the end credit scene of Captain America. Here's the end credit scene of Multiverse of Madness and whatever. And it's Doctor Doom. It's Doctor Doom. End credit scene of Black Panther. It's Doctor Doom. All that stuff. No, finally, we got Doctor Doom in the end credit scene. But yeah, so we'll see when we get a full suit design and all that stuff like that. It won't be this week because they ain't gonna be at Comic-Con. But
nope. They skipped out on Comic-Con this year, so we probably won't see it until, I mean, unless a photo leaks, we probably won't see it until they either release an official photo or until that first trailer, which probably won't be until we get close to Brand New Day.
No, because for me, I think the timing wise, because you have to also think Avatar: The Way of Water is coming out in December. Now, I saw footage for that at CinemaCon, and now they're releasing the trailer for it when you go see this movie. It's the exact same trailer.
Right.
But it's
yeah.
But that's also coming out in December. Doomsday got pushed to December, coming out the same day as Doom Messiah, which I think is a horrible decision. But so by marketing times, we're already gonna have a Spider-Man movie before Comic-Con. So it only makes sense that you will have the first Doomsday trailer show up in front of brand new the next Spider-Man film, and then by that time we will at least either got some images, some pictures, or something like that going on. Yeah, and we'll just see how that plays out. But yeah. I think CinemaCon is when we're gonna get some stuff next March, or April, but only time will tell. But yeah, I think that will. Aside from that, rating wise, I give this film, to me, I say a 7 out of 10. I have to go see this again. And I'm not saying 7 in terms of bad. I'm saying it was fantastic, but there was a but there, because I felt there was a lack of action scenes. I felt so this film had some pacing issues where the criticism for people with Superman about the first act, like, oh, this is rushing, like, oh, because we're already in this world and we're just moving on. No, this was rushing. Yeah, and I was like, wait, slow down here. That was a issue for me, but I still loved a lot of moments in here. I even said, like, this movie has a Star Trek problem. How Star Trek focuses a lot on science fiction, and exploration and everything, but doesn't really have that much action and stuff to a point that keeps it a little bit entertaining if you're not into all the science and exploration part of it. That's where I say it has a Star Trek problem, for original Star Trek fans, if you get it, not the Abrams one. But that's why I feel like this film is kind of lacking priority. If they just prioritize other emotional stuff, but at the same time, it's like, this is still a superhero movie. So again, whether you juggle between Superman or this, I think Superman is better than this movie in other areas, and I think Fantastic Four is better than Superman in other areas. Visual effects, whatever. Score, definitely. But yeah, so this is by far one of the best MCU scores since Black Panther. Aside from Avengers and Spider-Man and all that stuff like that. Yeah, this is one of the best. And Michael Giacchino is the GOAT, at least for Marvel. But yes, aside from that, what was your final ranking you would give for this out of 10?
I would probably go an 8. As you said, like, I really, really enjoyed this movie. I do also see the flaws, and I do wish that my main gripe was always just that we need to slow down to let some things settle or elaborate on certain stuff. But otherwise, it's like I am glad that in this sense, the Fantastic Four were represented as they were. I'm glad that we have a modern day Fantastic Four movie that isn't doing the origin, but is still treating the characters justice. We have a world distinct from the rest of the MCU that feels lived in and feels special and feels its own, even if it just needed a little bit more nuggets. And I can just say that this is definitely one of those MCU films that I can see myself, especially when it comes out on digital, rewatching over and over and over and over. Like, it has that rewatchability to me, in my personal opinion. And just like with Thunderbolts, makes me excited for what we have next.
I definitely, like, for me, I felt this film was a success only because what it needed to achieve was this team and this dynamic. I think future possibilities, again, like for Captain America, really, for a lot of people, Captain America really didn't hit until Winter Soldier for them. Like, I know for my dad especially, right? I think in the sequel, and as we get into a new proper 616 universe timeline where we have everybody is in one big happy family in the MCU, right? Then we see more interactions. We can have a Reed Richards in an Illuminati, and and all that stuff like that, and then see hopefully a new T'Challa interacting with the Fantastic Four, something like that, right? She-Hulk, if you ever choose to bring her back, she had interactions with Fantastic Four. Agatha, she babysitted Franklin. I don't know how that worked well. Now she's a ghost. Insurance. I don't know.
She'll find a way.
Yeah, find a way. But yeah. I'm excited for what's in store here. But this was definitely the best MCU film of the year. In my opinion. Yes, they're staying on a good note. But there's still fundamental structural MCU problems that continue to linger. That they need to maximize very, very soon, because at this time you have no time left. You have a Spider-Man movie and you have the finale. This two-part finale, Doomsday and Secret Wars. There's no more time left. It's no more. So yeah, it's game time now. So these next 3 movies need to make billions, and by numbers they can make billions. Spider-Man almost made 2 billion. The last one. So we'll see how this goes. Make up the money you lost with some of these movies that came out this year, because it definitely was a loss for some. Whether we want to admit it or not, financially it wasn't a good year for them, except for Lilo and Stitch. But anyway, aside from that, make sure you subscribe, comment, like, and share. We got more videos talking about Fantastic Four and other reviews. We got Naked Gun coming out next week. We got
Wait, what'd you say?
Naked Gun.
I thought you said something else.
Naked Gun.
No, you said it so fast that it didn't sound like naked.
No, Naked Gun. And we also got Freakier Friday. All right, get your mind out together. You know what I mean? We also got some horror movies coming out soon. We got Together. We got Weapons. Also check out that. But yeah, we got also a ton of stuff. Comic-Con this year. I won't be there this year. But I got more content and stuff coming back later this month. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit notification bell so you're up to date on all releases of videos, interviews, etc. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.